Good afternoon, guys. Marini here with another algebra video. This lesson is Thursday, April 2nd. How do we solve quadratic equations that are not in standard form? Top two questions here, do now. Just want to go over what we did yesterday. Number one is a quadratic equation. It's got x squared, and most importantly, it's already in standard form because it's equal to 0, which is good. So the way we solve quadratic equation is by factoring. This is a trinomial, so this will be factored with the AM method. So we can see the first term is x squared, which is x times x. And now we got to find two numbers that multiply to negative 24 but add up to positive 2. And that would be a positive 6 and a negative 4. Now this isn't the final answer because we're solving for x. The next step is to make your t-chart and set each parentheses equal to 0. So this one would be x minus 4 equals 0. This one would be x plus 6 equals 0. And then showing work. To get x by itself, you would do the inverse operation on both sides. You get negative 6. And also this would be plus 4 both sides. You get x equals 4. So your two solutions are negative 6, positive 4. And remember, these are not only called solutions, they're also known as roots. They're also known as x-intercepts. And one more word I'm going to throw in there, they're also known as zeros. So all of those things are synonyms for what you call the answers to a quadratic equation. Now coming over here to number 2, I notice that this is a trinomial. It's quadratic, it's got x squared, it's also equal to 0. At first glance, I noticed there's a 3 here, which means I could not do the AM method. However, they all have a 3 in common. They're all divisible by 3. So this would be the greatest common factor method. Divide by 3. 3x squared divided by 3 is x squared. Minus 11x plus 54 divided by 3 is 18. Put that in parentheses. Put the GCF in front. And make sure you bring down equals 0. And now what I have here is a trinomial that can be factored with AM. So double parentheses equals 0. Bring down to 3. X squared is x times x. And now I got to find two numbers that multiply to 18 and add up to negative 11. 18, let's see, 9 times 2 is 18. 9 and 2. And 9 and 2 adds up to 11. But I want them to add up to a negative 11. So I'm going to flip this to be negative 9 and negative 2. That still multiplies to 18, but now it also adds up to negative 11. So negative 9, negative 2. And now we're going to t-chart and get our solutions. I'm going to put another line here, and also a line here. I'll show you why in a second. Now we're going to make these all equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. X minus 9 equals 0. 3 equals 0. That doesn't make any sense, so you reject it. Add 9. So x equals positive 9. And then add 2. And x equals positive 2. So two solutions, 9 and 2. Or 2 and 9, whatever order you want to write them in, doesn't matter. So one of the nice things about those two examples and the examples that we saw yesterday is that they were already equal to 0. When it says equal 0, that means standard form. However, if I scroll down here, I notice that these equations are not equal to 0. So I'm going to do a couple of them with you, and then I'll be in Google Meet if you guys have any questions. And I'm assigning a delta math that I'm going to actually make due Monday midnight. So really like Sunday at midnight or Monday 12 o'clock in the morning. So you have today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday to get it done. All right. So y parentheses y minus 3 equals 4. One thing I noticed is that it's not equal to 0. It's not in standard form. And I also noticed that doesn't have like a y squared. What I could do first is I can distribute. So y times y is y squared. Y times negative 3 is negative 3y equals 4. And now what I want to do is I want to bring the 4 over so I can set it equal to 0. So I would do the inverse operation, which would be to subtract 4. And since none of those are like terms, y squared minus 3y minus 4 equals 0. You can't combine like terms there because none of them are like terms. And now that I got it equal to 0, now you just factor it and do it like I did yesterday. This would be a trinomial. We could do AM. The first term is y squared, which would be y times y. Now I got to figure out numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add up to negative 3. I can't do 2 times 2 or 2 times negative 2 because neither of those situations are going to add up to negative 3. Think outside the box a little bit. What else is multiplied to get 4? And that could be like 1 times negative 4 or negative 1 times positive 4. Since I want the numbers to add up to negative 3, I'm going to go with a 1 and a negative 4. So positive 1, negative 4. Do your t-chart. Get your roots. Y minus 4 equals 0. Get y by itself, subtract 1. So y equals negative 1. And then add 4. And you get y equals 4. So this is essentially the same thing as yesterday, but the equations are not equal to 0 for you. You have to move things around and get it to be equal to 0 yourself. So let's take a look at number 2. And then I'll leave you guys alone to do the rest of them on your own. 5x squared minus 3x, it's not equal to 0. So I would move this 3x to the left side so we can get equal to 0. So the way that I would move the 3x would be to subtract it. So you subtract 3x from this side, subtract 3x from that side. It's very tempting to do 5 minus 3, but those are not like terms because it's 5x squared minus 3x, which means you have to leave that separate. And on the other side of the equal sign, we had 3x minus 3x, which cancels out and becomes 0. And now we have to factor this. Now this is not AM. It's not always going to be AM. This one would be greatest common factor. They both have x in common. So the GCF here is x. So factoring with GCF, it's always good to review that. Divide both by x. 5x squared divided by x is 5x. Minus 3x divided by x is 3. Put that in parentheses. Put the x in front equals 0. Now we have to do our t-chart. This is a little bit of a different kind of t-chart here. Remember, you make each factor equal to 0. So this one would just say x equals 0, and that means that you're done with this one. One of the answers is x equals 0. The other answer is going to be whatever you solve for x over here. So first you would add 3 and get 5x equals 3. And then to get x by itself, you would divide both sides by 5. And you would get x equals, you could do 3 divided by 5 and get 0.6, or you could leave it as a fraction. I choose to leave it as a fraction for now. So the two solutions are 0 and 3/5. All right, in the rest of these examples, get it equal to 0 first. You might have questions on how to do that, so I can help you. And I will send you guys a message and remind, letting you guys know that you have a Delta Math homework due Sunday night or Monday morning at midnight, however you want to think.